Ever wondered what really happens when you tell your HOA to shove their bogus rules? Yeah, it gets messy. In today's story, one man says nope to the Karen committee, and what they do next will make your jaw hit the floor. Before we dive in, smash that like button, because this one is wild. The first time the letter showed up on Evan's doorstep, he didn't think much of it. A plain white envelope. A bold red stamp that read, HOA notice. Immediate attention required. Inside was a photo of the front of his house. Zoomed in. Grainy. Taken from the bushes across the street. Below it, in aggressive bold letters. Violation. Grass exceeds approved height by 1.5 inches. Fine. $75. Evan had only lived in the neighborhood for 8 days. He stared at the paper, confused, irritated, and honestly, amused. 1.5 inches? Seriously? He shrugged it off at first. He'd mow the lawn. Whatever. But what he didn't know was that the HOA president, Linda Halcombe, had already marked him as a problem, because Evan didn't wave back the first day she greeted him. Not because he was rude, but because he didn't see her. And in Linda's mind, being ignored was a crime worse than any rule violation. So she watched him, every morning, every night, clipboard in hand, just waiting. And when Evan didn't pay the first fine because he thought it was ridiculous, another envelope arrived. Then another. Then another. By week 3 he had a fine for having his trash can visible for more than 14 minutes after pickup. A fine for using a non-approved garden hose color. A fine for having a welcome mat that was too large. A fine for parking his car 1 inch onto the sidewalk. Every letter felt more threatening, more intrusive, more insane. But the one that pushed him over the edge? A letter demanding he remove his dog's blue collar, because the HOA only approved earth tones. Evan snapped, and for the first time since he moved in, he fought back. The community center was packed. HOA meetings usually had 5 people. Tonight, there were 40, because Linda made sure to call out Evan in the newsletter, labeling him a disrespectful, non-compliant resident. Evan walked in and felt every eye burning into him, but he didn't flinch. Linda sat at the head of the long table, wearing a smug smile and a pearl necklace that screamed entitlement. Mr. Grant, she said, tapping her pen like a judge delivering a death sentence. You have accumulated over $1,300 in unpaid fines. Do you intend to comply with HOA regulations? Evan leaned forward. I intend, he said calmly, to understand why you're stalking me with a camera, writing fake rules, and harassing me over grass and hoses. Gasps filled the room. Linda laughed, but her eyes twitched. Mr. Grant, our rules are legally binding. Evan dropped a folder onto the table. Inside, screenshots of every rule Linda claimed existed. And next to them, the real HOA bylaws. None of her fines were listed. Not a single one. People in the crowd leaned in. Whispers spread. Linda froze. Then she snapped. Those are outdated. No. Evan interrupted. These are the versions filed with the county last year. Public record. Anyone here can check. Someone in the back shouted, Linda, is that true? Another chimed in, we've been paying fines too. Faces turned angry. Eyes focused on Linda. Her mask cracked. She banged her gavel on the table. This meeting is over. But Evan wasn't done. He had recorded everything. Her lies, her threats, her illegal fines. And the recording would soon be heard by the entire neighborhood. As the room erupted, Evan walked out calmly. He hadn't even started fighting yet. The next morning, Evan woke up to a sight that made his blood boil. His front yard was covered in bright orange violation flags, giant warning signs, a letter taped to his door declaring him ineligible for community privileges. But what really got him? A tow notice on his car. Linda was striking back, and this time she crossed the line. Evan knew now, this wasn't about rules. This was personal. He picked up his phone and called a lawyer, because if the HOA wanted war, he was ready. Evan's lawyer didn't need long. "This HOA is a cash machine," she said, flipping through documents. "And Linda is the one pumping it. They uncovered everything. Fake rules, illegal fines, money disappearing, unauthorized fees, no voted approval for any changes. And worst of all, Linda was depositing fines into a private maintenance fund. The community had no idea, but they were about to." Evan launched a neighborhood meeting, this time in the park. More than 70 residents showed up. He connected a speaker, pressed play. Linda's angry voice blasted across the crowd. "I don't care what the bylaws say. Make up a rule if you have to. He needs to learn how things work around here." People gasped. Some yelled. But Evan wasn't finished. He passed out printed bank statements, public records, showing thousands of dollars in fines collected over the last year. None of it went toward repairs, maintenance, or improvements. It went straight into Linda's personal account. The crowd erupted, shouting, accusations, demands. And then, someone pointed behind Evan. There she was, Linda, red-faced, shaking, breathing hard. "You," she hissed, stepping forward. "You are ruining this community." "No," Evan said softly. "You already did that." Residents surrounded her. One shouted, "You stole our money." Another yelled, "We're filing charges." Someone else screamed, "Get her out." Linda tried to escape, but 2 board members blocked her path. The truth was out, and her reign was over. Within a week, the board removed Linda as president. A criminal investigation opened. Residents demanded audits. All invalid fines were erased. Evan's record was cleared. A new HOA board was elected, one that actually followed the rules. People thanked Evan. Some hugged him. Others apologized for judging him before knowing the truth. But the moment that hit the hardest, a nervous elderly woman approached him with tears in her eyes. "I've been paying her fines for years," she whispered. "I'm so glad someone finally stood up to her." Evan nodded. "Sometimes," he said, "you have to defy bad rules to bring justice to everyone." The neighborhood looked different now. Brighter, calmer, happier. Kids played outside. People actually smiled. No one lived in fear of yellow envelopes. Evan sat on his porch, sipping coffee, watching his dog run across the yard. Grass freshly cut. Hose bright blue. Welcome mat oversized. Everything Linda hated. He smiled, because sometimes, doing the right thing means breaking the wrong rules. And when you defy a corrupt HOA, you don't just win the fight, you change the entire community.